Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling in the clubhouse studio. My man, Anthony Stabile, who just put on one of the most impressive shows in history, virtually remembering every trainer of all 13 horses in the 1997 Kentucky Derby.
Got a lunch off.
He screwed up late, or he would have really, it was an impressive showing, I got to tell you. You should have been here for it. Anyhow, we got 9 to talk about. Our President's Day cars we are racing this Monday, and keep in mind, only 2 days off, as we have a 4-day week this week. We'll be back in action on Thursday, 8 races cards Thursday and Friday. Post time, 1:20. I think this has been 7 straight days, by the way, with a 1 o'clock post. It's a record in many months. Anyhow, we'll max it a $200 deposit bonus. Use the promo code Big A. 50/50 at Oaklawn and Aqueduct if you bet at least $50 or more on each Oaklawn and Aqueduct. That's a cue, Steve. Steve's a little slow this morning. What's going on with Steve in there? Come on, Steve. Get it together. I know you're not used to being here on a Monday, but come on. We're here, you're here, everybody's here. 50 on each track, bet it through the app only. You'll get a $10 bonus. Also, a bunch of those races at Oaklawn, we'll be showing them today. Lafitte Pinkai III and Gary Stevens down at Oaklawn Park representing us. Nancy Holthus as well. That's the President's Day card. It's the President's Day show, America's Day at the Races. 4 to 6:30. We'll be covering the last 2 at Aqueduct and the last 5 at Oaklawn, including 3 stakes. Thought that Razorback was a fun race.
Yeah, should be a good time.
Yeah, let's talk about today's card. Make sure we get through today's card. Don't want to run out of time, Anthony. Race number 1. We'll take a look at Ms. Malevolence. I like this name, Ms. Malevolence. Say that fast? I'm not going to bring up, there was a very ugly scene in the hallway downstairs. This is not Miss Malevolence, guys. That would be Aqueduct. Steve, you're really on. Steve is not on top. What is going on with Steve?
That's Gulfstream Park. There's Ms. Malevolence.
There's Ms. Malevolence, finishing 3rd. Ms. Malevolence. It happened. We ran into Gary Gullo downstairs. And
he's in 3 races today,
I told Gary, running into Anthony, might want to scratch. Anyhow, there she is finishing 3rd down at Gulfstream Park. And she ran fast enough, switches to a good trainer. And one of the problems I had was, see, I think of the entry that the 1A is the interesting one, Smart Set. 3 to 4 foals from Smart Set's dam were solid runners, okay? There's really, it's all turf pedigree on the 1. And it feels to me like the 1 entry will get bet because of Jeremiah's horse.
Agreed.
I want the 1A. So if the 1A was running by herself, I might have actually thought about taking a shot and putting her on top.
Interesting.
But because the price is so dragged down by
give it some time.
It's not to say the 1 can't win. I'm just saying from my perspective, I found the 1A to be much more interesting.
I agree with you. I know what you're saying. You lose any chance of getting any kind of price because of the presence of a Jeremiah Engelhardt Firster as part of that entry. Yeah, I just thought Ms. Malevolence with the experience and stuff. None of these Firsters really have workouts that are jumping off the page at you. Like you said, Jeremiah's Firster from the rail. It's kind of turf pedigree. We'll see what Rob Vetter's horse does the other part of the entry. Gary has the first-time starter in here as well. I just feel like this is the spot Ms. Malevolence gets her diploma today.
Madonna-like status.
Gary, you already mentioned Gary Gullo, so
okay.
Yeah.
Finding out. By the way, Louis Cardenas is off his mounts again today. It was in a training accident yesterday, nothing serious. I guess the saddle slipped.
Saddle slipped, handle, wrist issue.
But
about a week.
I talked to PJ Campbell, his agent, who said expects him to be out about a week, but he should be back soon.
Julio Correa is on this one. He's on a bunch of them.
He's on a bunch of them, I agree. I got the changes today. Well, some ride that horse got the change. See, I would have had the winner on top if I had known who was going to be riding it. So I'm a little bitter about that. But I thought Ms. Malevolence has run well. Were you surprised to see Pablo Fregoso named on the Tony Dutrow Firster on the bottom?
I think he works for him.
Oh, well, there you have it. It's often the case, right?
Yeah.
Race number 2. I found race number 2 to be a bit of a tricky race today.
Okay. I did too.
I guess Stand for the Flag will be favored. We'll take a look at her last race. And I remember I gave you a lecture about her last time. She's just not that good.
Yep. And she's one I don't think you'd argue with me that the wet track certainly just propelled her that one.
The only big thing she ever ran was in a wet track, so at face value, yes, you have to believe that she moved up on a wet track. Either that fig is totally wrong or she ate her Wheaties that day and was feeling good, but I can't argue with that. The only time she's run... Now, listen, she's still run well enough to win.
Yes.
But this race, to me, is the kind of race that on paper it looks okay. She just sort of clumped up for second. She was totally non-threatening.
Also, do you feel like the service horses just aren't as hot as they were necessarily
11 for
earlier in the meet?
42.
But that number was considerably
Oh,
higher.
he's got 14 seconds and 9/3. So, no, they're just probably not winning as much. I'll be honest with you. I think of some of these service horses, and I haven't been surprised when they've lost.
Well, the two
And I haven't been overly surprised when they've
really
won.
come to mind for me was last Sunday. Control Group and Storm Profit just had.
I didn't like Control Group at all.
I understand that, but whether we liked them or not, they had
Storm Profit.
They had great setups and just didn't
Storm
punch.
Profit never wins.
Yeah, I understand that. I worry a little bit
Okay.
when these barns tail off just slightly.
I don't. I think this horse. I mean, he had a horse the other day that was a 5-2 favorite, Hawaiian Noises, and as you know, I got in a soapbox and said that horse has absolutely no chance in this race. You're going to have to tell me what you like about Jen Emily because I didn't see her as a contender at all.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, that's a little surprising to me.
Why?
Well, I think if you find a hole and stand for the flag, which we obviously have, it's been a while since Anna Way's been the mile.
Well, but so what? She's been a mile. She's run effectively at a mile in the past.
That's another barn that's been Charlie's barn. I'm a big Charlie Baker fan. The barn's been very quiet, Andy. Very quiet winter. You know, I don't like trying to.
Which of the horses at Charlie's run that you thought were really good didn't show up?
I can't name any off the top of my head.
I think you guys running a lot of bad horses. I don't know. This horse ran fine to win 2 races back. She runs that race 2 back. It's going to be tough. And last time out, she was just over her head. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But you don't. Oh, that's fine. Okay, you don't like her. That's fine. What do you like about Jen Emily?
Well, I think Jen Emily's either going to find herself on a loose lead or she's going to be sitting off Avelina, depending on what Julio Correa wants to do. And quite frankly, against these horses, I think if she's able to control, I think should be a moderate pace.
Well, she's not faster than the 4, so.
Right, well,
she's not supposed to be in front of her.
Or sit off. But listen, she's not faster than the 4, but the 4 came back last time, and I know you didn't particularly care for the 4 last time. She didn't run 2 steps last time.
I'm not in love with the 4 in this race.
You know what I mean? So I'm not.
She may not be able to run
I'm not
at
so
all
that she
anymore.
can run anymore. If she can't run anymore, Jen Emily's going to be 3 in front of these horses.
Jen Emily caught a wet track last time. She ended up getting a perfect trip in that race. I'm a tad dubious of her. I think this is a much tougher spot. You like her? I don't. That's the way the horse racing world works. Race number 3.
That's the beauty of it.
I just didn't think she was good enough. There were too many horses that were better than her, and she'd have to get awfully lucky to win.
Fair enough.
Race number 3. So we've got 3 horses in here coming out of the race won by Modernist. We'll take a look at that race. And Modernist, of course, won a very slow division of the Risen Star. I know they're gung-ho for the Derby with him, but Modernist better get a case of the quicks awfully quickly.
Well, Bill was comparing him. Bill Mott was comparing him to Country House, saying he's probably a little more mature at this point.
Well, Country
as well.
House was a lot faster than him at this time last year, so I'm going to disagree with Bill as much as I like and respect him. Regardless, why did you pick Distorted Sky, who did finish 3rd with Cowtown getting 2nd?
You know, last time out when there was no pace in the race, Jose Lezcano kind of had his hand forced a little bit and had to be aggressive with this horse. He was first time.
Aggressive. They were walking. You said there was no pace.
Right, but he still had to get this horse in the game. Obviously, I mean, this is a horse that he chose to then. I don't know.
But it was a slow pace. Wouldn't being on top of the pace be beneficial?
You would think. But I think this horse just got a little tired. I think today he sits off a Cowtown Cat, and you know, sometimes to me,
Cowtown Cat's running here.
Cowtown.
Cowtown Cat, I will admit, probably my best Derby opinion. He was my lock for last in the Derby.
Did that come true?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Cat. A perfect trip. You win the Gotham.
Is that Thursday's test? We'll go through last place Derby finishers.
Well, there's that great buyer story about Western Playboy. But anyway. Yeah,
I've seen enough of Cowtown.
I just feel like Cowtown's had a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And Distorted Sky is lightly raced and just figures to be the one with slightly more upside. One of them's supposed to win. What happens with Awesome Party? Now, here's what I don't get. According to the pace projector, Awesome Party's in front. And that's an interesting thing because of how quick that pace was. Mm-hmm. That is a wild pace that they're putting up for that race at Gulfstream, in a race that ultimately was slow. Based on Awesome Party's first race, this horse just can't run at all.
Well, it's first-time blinkers now, and
Did you watch?
shipping him up here. I remember the race.
Okay, tell me about
he didn't run. There was just no
How hard do you
effort.
think they tried with him?
Was that again?
How hard do you think they tried with him?
You think they just gave him a race? I don't.
Anthony, I asked you, how hard do you think
I
they
don't
tried
think
with
they,
him?
I don't think they were giving him a race. I don't think
He was
much.
all out on him. He wasn't giving him a race. He was
That's
all
what
out.
I don't think he was much,
You
man.
watched the race. This horse was
Well,
all
you're asking me-
out. He
you're
was
asking
being
me to
ridden.
say
Johnny was
nasty-
riding this
You're
horse.
asking me to say nasty things
No, I'm
about
not.
this
I'm asking you
horse.
to tell me what you think happened
Yeah.
since you told me you watched
I'm
the race,
very
and I'm
curious.
telling you,
You know,
that they tried as
yeah,
hard as
I
you could
don't-
with a horse,
I-
and he had absolutely nothing. So, no, he wasn't given a race, and
But let me
nobody that
ask you
watched the
this.
race would think that.
Do you think maybe they know these things going in, and they run the horse a mile to just try to get?
I think they run him a mile first time
know.
because I think I'll tell you what. I highly doubt Todd Pletcher was surprised that he ran badly.
Well, listen, the way he ran, if they would have ran him in a sprint, he'd have got beat 60 lengths.
I mean, I don't know what his value is, but he is another performance away from running for a tag.
Paid an awful lot of money for this horse.
They
and
did.
You know, with the Todd Pletcher barn, the blinkers. I think you say this a lot. It's kind of, his blinker numbers are not good. The last year they're not good.
It's very likely
it's a
that
little
this
bit of a
horse cannot
desperation
run
move.
a step,
Yeah?
and he'll be running in a 25 claimer very soon.
Well,
Because
that
when he-
won't be the case because they'll try him on turf before they do that. I don't know. He doesn't. I didn't look at his turf pedigree, but they'll try him on turf before they do anything
Better be
else.
careful. He may stop and.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, the horse can't run. I mean, well,
I mean,
I'm very curious
you're
to see
playing-
what he does because
you're
based on
playing
his
pick
first
four.
race.
You're playing pick fours and pick fives. You got to be comfortable with the 2 and the 5 here, don't you? Just try and get through the race.
They do seem like the right two. Race number 4. I knew you'd pick Invest, but I figured I'd stay with them anyway. We'll take a look at Invest's last race, and I don't think there's any secret here. This is a Michael Dubb Jason Service claim. Nothing but respect for Michael's eye with claiming horses, and he and Jason Service together are a very, very dangerous team. Claimed this horse from Gary Contessa, and this horse, once with Linda Rice, had some real potential. I just think he's probably going to be tough, especially with the scratch.
Yeah, the scratch is going to help him.
I didn't like that horse, too. Who's in charge? Oh, sorry, he scratched.
Yeah, well,
Just
I put him. I had him second. Yeah, I mean the scratch obviously helps. He's supposed to get the job done today, right? I mean that race last time out. He runs that race that he ran last time out. He's gonna beat these horses pretty easily. I mean the price is gonna stink now because with the morning line favorite who's in charge out of this, you got to figure he's gonna be in the 2-to-1 range, right? Maybe even shorter.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be short.
He's going to be short. I couldn't really sink my teeth into anything else. You have a horse that's a little bit of a price second.
I think that's an interesting horse, hardcore folklore, and I thought about putting him on top here. I wish Cardenas had been on him. Julio Correa rides okay. He's fine. I don't want to knock him, but I think Cardenas has ridden a bit better overall. He's a weird horse. He just didn't seem to run the mile last time. He got a good pace when he closed 3 back and ran, but off the claim for Gary Gullo. Gary has great numbers off the claim. It's a horse that does have ability. Sometimes he shows it, sometimes he doesn't. And I really didn't like anybody else here. I mean, it's interesting that Mental Model is running. He's finally getting back. He was scratched a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he looked like a logical horse in that race, and Linda scratched him. I thought Mr. Bobby was a little bit interesting.
That's who I have
Last
second.
time out, you know, that race was sort of dominated more towards the front end. And I thought he ran well in his prior 2 races. Thought he was dangerous.
The 2 races, second and third back, I think make him, if you're looking for a little bit of a price alternative, that's where I would land. Because now with the scratch, he's probably going to take a little money as well. But he'll probably be in that. I think he'll stay in that 6-to-1 range.
The 2 will probably be about 8 to 5 in here. And the 3 and
Mental Model take some money.
3, 4, maybe a little 6.
Maybe a
will be
little
the
6 take
horses,
some money, right?
Yeah, obviously the race changed with the scratch of who's in charge. Race number 5. I thought race number 5 was a particularly tough race. I struggle a lot, and this is a race that changed with the scratch of the number 5 Loris Posse, and I guess it helps your horse, Blue Blood.
Yeah.
What?
It's supposed to help my horse.
Well,
Blue.
but 40 factors going from the rail. You know, Rudy and Ray Lou are not taking the 1 back. What do you? I mean, I don't. What evidence did you see that Blue Blood can run it all in the dirt?
I don't, but I know that what he ran against last time in Life in Shambles, and we got old, you got sold. What would they be in here? They would be.
Yeah, but they beat him like a drum.
Well, it was also his first start. There was a little moisture in that track. He didn't really show.
Maybe he likes a wet track.
He didn't really show
Maybe he
any
likes
kind
wet
of
track.
speed. Nah, I don't. Not
Oh, so we're
according to
bringing out the wet track as one. One of the reasons you like this horse is there was a little moisture in the track last time.
You get a.
Roy actually thinks we can do something to control sound out there while we're on the air. This is the world. This is the world that I live in.
he gets a positive rider change. He's supposed to have a good target off of the 40 factor.
If we can do something about maybe some sound in the area outside the studio,
floor.
that would be terrific. Thank you.
And yeah, I'm just hoping. I want to use 4 or 5 horses in here. This was a very tough race. I thought he'd be a little bit of a price alternative, and I'll give him one more chance with the rider change and the drop. I mean, look.
He was awful.
He's run once on a dirt track, right?
Here's the problem, Anthony.
We've seen enough. I mean,
here's the problem, Anthony. This horse is a confirmed speed type. He couldn't even show speed last time. Don't give me the track was good and that let me finish. This is a confirmed speed type to try the dirt first time. He couldn't even show speed. It wasn't even a particularly fast pace.
Listen,
he was. I bet him last time. He was brutal.
I used them because you like. I mean,
listen. Maybe the 40 factor won't get out of the gate. It'll be a souped-up inside speed track, and he'll win. But somehow that's about the only scenario. Good luck. I think the 40 factor is dangerous in here. This is a tricky race. Nuclear Code ran okay last time. I think Liam's Let Go is not impossible in here, getting a big rider change. But I thought Scarf It Down was also very interesting. Dylan Davis picks with the mount on him today. Last time out, he got involved in a pace that basically just completely and totally fell apart. There's no evidence the rail was bad that day, but most people stayed off it. He was down up in the inside, but he also got totally burned up in the pace. And he's got races that can win this race, and I think he's a horse that's been compromised, and I'm going to hope he gets the right trip. It's interesting with Orlando Noda. He's had a lot of success in his first year of training, but I think he's also 1 for 11 or 1 for 14 off the claim.
He's actually up to 1 for 15.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, one on the turfs. It's 1 for 14 in the dirt. So he hasn't been winning up. They've improved these horses, but they have not shown immediate improvement. But still, I thought Scarf It Down was
might have been the off the
and he was incredibly lucky to win by a nose, right?
That day, yeah. Look, it's one of those races where I had a hard time making Malibu Action. Laura's Posse came out. So Sublime.
I thought Laura's Posse was possible. Yeah.
Right. I guess Malibu Action isn't impossible. Michelle Nevermore's starting to heat up.
I'm not sure anybody's impossible in this race.
I know.
Brimstone Sublime is a little tough to take in here, but
the other 6.
Very, very, very tricky race.
Very difficult race.
Race number 6. Number 6 is not an easy race as well. Race number 6, and this race came back differently than when they had first carded it, because Rude Awakening was an overwhelming favorite first time they had carded it. We'll take a look at Rude Awakening beating Make or Break, who came back with a big win. We'll talk about this. I wasn't sure about it. The tricky morning line race. I picked the 6. I don't like the 6 in this race at 2-1. I don't agree with David's line. I have a hard time seeing that horse an overwhelming favorite. We'll get to that. She's not fast. She's never run a fast figure.
Yeah, but it's Linda and Lascano.
We'll get to her. But regardless, this horse ran well, and horses have come out of that race and run very well. I mean,
when we canceled the day this was the bring back from the day we canceled, a lot of people were curious. In fact, there was an allowance race later on the card that Rude Awakening was eligible
autonomous
for.
race. The race is being run on Thursday.
Say again.
The race is being run on Thursday.
Yeah, going a mile, and everybody.
Well, it's not going a mile. It's going 6 furlongs.
The race on the canceled day was going a mile.
No, it's not. Autonomous was not re-entered going a mile. I'd be happy to bet you it's right on my desk. There's no way that Chad Brown entered Autonomous back, nor Fierce Lady going a mile. It was the Fierce.
Was it a different race? I think you got the days. I think you got. Now you couldn't get the days confused. We only canceled once.
I don't think so. I think you're confused. But we'll look at my desk.
We got to look at that. We got to look at that day. And in any
Steve
event,
will text me.
I think they were just very. A lot of people were curious as to why he was running for tag. Look, you want to win races here, and she's in the right spot today.
Well, I had a text exchange with Eric Guillot, the trainer, about running for a tag. Now, I like Eric a lot, and joking around, I think, he
realizes he got lucky.
He knew he was going to lose her. He knew he was going to lose her. And I think, as he said to me, I'm probably running her a little cheaper than she's worth, but there was no 50 to run her in, and now he gets to 50. So, I think he understood, but he also, listen, Eric's been around for a long time, and Eric, I like Eric. Eric puts on a big show. Eric's actually a lot smarter than he lets on.
Very, very
and
smart
he's been
guy.
around, and I think he was trying to be realistic with the horse. This is, though, a much tougher spot because you've got Make or Break, Wiggle and Jiggle, and Officer Hutchie all in here, as well as Vibrancy and even Cruising Strong. I think Cruising Strong was in the last race.
Yes.
None of these other horses were in that race.
No.
This is a significantly tougher race. And what do you do with Make or Break, who improved so tremendously last time and now gets claimed by Rob Atras?
I think you have to. I mean, she beat her pretty convincingly.
She did. She beat her like a drum. No, I agree. But
and then she stretched out to the mile, and it certainly seemed like she settled a lot better going the eighth panels.
She galloped last time.
She did.
Either that's a big compliment to Rude Awakening, or the light went off, and now she's in a barn that wins a lot too. So I think you have to consider her dangerous in here.
You have to use her. She's dangerous.
I'm not sure what to do. Listen, I think Wiggle and Jiggle is going to run well in here. She didn't run particularly well last time. That was a tough race.
This race is very similar to the 5th race. I had a hard time making the New Miami or Lake.
I think the 1,
Chicago.
3, 5, and 6 can all win this race. I'm not sure why you left the 3 out here. I think she's very, very dangerous. Everybody wants to come in the studio today. Everybody wants to come in. Pam, the whole world's there. Is there like a sign in the door? Come on, please. Number 6, Officer Hutchie. We'll look at her last race. And I think I'm going to show the start of that race.
Yeah.
Because she really did lose a lot at the start in here. And she lost to a Danny Gargan horse. And this was the Danny Gargan horse that was claimed. And she ran the Demoiselle. So she gets totally left. And she runs into a buzzsaw. I'm not convinced, and at 2-1, I would never bet her. I'm very curious to see if Dave is right about this line. He usually is, and I'm wrong, but I'm dubious that she's going to be favored.
I think she'll definitely be the favorite.
I don't think so. You want to give me 2-1?
Yeah, I'll give you 2-1.
I'll take 2-1.
I'm confident. People, listen.
Well, you're confident in everything. 2-1, 2-1.
Yeah, and it's 45 because I won a lunch during our Derby thing today.
I gifted you a lunch.
Yes. Well, I got it right.
Anthony actually got a very tough trivia question correct. Who was the trainer of Concerto in the Kentucky Derby?
And when she makes it to the ground late, well, we'll talk about the odds first. They see Jose Lezcano and Linda Rice, and then you see the trouble at the start, the fact that she was off slow and she made up the ground. She ran second to a Gargan
Didn't get a particularly
horse.
fast fig though.
It was not. Well,
not a fast race.
No, it wasn't. No,
not
it
a fast
wasn't.
race.
No, it wasn't.
I thought that she'd be a fair enough price. I'm gonna use all 4 of these horses in here. If I had one I like the least, it's the 1 Make or Break, because I kind of want to see it again.
Okay.
But I think she's a bit dangerous in here as well. It's a very interesting race, and obviously a much tougher spot. And also, Rude Awakening has to get. Well, she got the 7 last time, so that's fine.
She's got to deal with the New Miami with the blinkers on. I think she's the only one that can really kind of keep her any kind of company on the front end. Otherwise, she's. The New Miami with the blinkers on has got to try and keep her honest early on, I would think. I don't think anybody else in the air can really go with her. And if you're rolling your eyes at me, then I feel that much more confident in Rude Awakening just going wide away.
Okay, race number 7. I roll my eyes at you all the time.
I'm just saying, in this instance, I hope you're right.
Not sure why that's going to get more confident. I have no idea what you're talking about. Anybody else want to come in? Race number 7. I had the 7th race. It took me. My picks were held up for a day because I had no idea to pick in here. And Trouble for Skylar. We'll look at Trouble for Skylar finishing 2nd. Whale and Josie finishing 4th. I have no argument. She's the horse to beat in here. But you know what? Kind of should have won last time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Could not have gotten a better trip.
I would agree with she should have won last time.
I like when Kendrick closes the door.
You like the filly that won last time, and I also think that the filly that won last time could be okay. So
I don't.
No?
No. The stakes for her? Did your horse finish last at 4-5 in the Barbara Fritchie?
I think she'd be, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I think she'd be favored in here.
I don't know. I went a little goofy in here. I got no problem with Trouble
I
for
wanted to
Skylar.
go, I almost went goofy.
I thought Aqueduct Harbor, is that our place up in Cape Cod, you know?
Singa Kentucky. I actually called a bar up there yesterday. They didn't know how to say it either. Called a bar in Oaks Bluff, I believe it's in.
No, on the bar.
Couldn't get an answer.
Well, you sure you could understand the response?
She had to leave the restaurant to actually be able to hear me.
God, does she know what an honor it was to get a call from a man of your stature?
I was just trying to get the name right, man.
You know what? I'm a sucker for turnbacks. This horse has got figs that are fast enough to win, Aqueduct Harbor, and also not that slow, so I didn't think would be really badly outrun in here. Bustin' to Please is probably going to try to wire the field. Wasn't thrilled with that horse. The 1 Aqueduct race wasn't good. Thought this was a tough race. I was going to use most of 5 and 6, but I'm not going to argue with people that have a lot of goofy ideas.
She's one on the surface. What about the 2, the other Finger Lake ship, A Party in the Rain?
Yeah, her good races are 5.5 furlongs. That's what I don't like about her. Her
Fair
good
enough.
figures and races are 5.5 furlongs.
Fair enough.
That bothers me. I wonder if some of those numbers at 5.5 aren't as strong. That's what worries me.
Well, if you knock 7, 8 points off them, doesn't it still make her a contender in here?
I've got her. I'm not. Right? Listen, I'm not gonna give you a big argument against anyone in this race.
Anybody. It's
you
want
to get goofy, Eric? I mean, Dave Aragona likes Ella's song. I know she ran off last time. I don't like her. She does get a good rider change. I don't see it, but I'm not gonna knock David's being. She has run well in the past. I looked at that too, so I can't. By the way, look at that. Pure Prairie League at Gulfstream. I saw Pure Prairie League. I saw Pure Prairie League.
I think that's Firefall.
Okay, I saw America and Pure Prairie League in concert together. You could probably sing America's Greatest Hits, Sister Golden Hair,
Yeah, of course.
Songs That was a great band. Horse with No Name.
My former radio partner Jude Feld will not bet horses if he hears birthday today. Will not play horses if he hears the song "Horse with No Name" because he took the worst gambling beating of his life in a diner before the
you guys
races.
are friends, two idiots. Race number 8, the Holly Hughes. You know, this is a tricky race, and we'll talk about My Boy Tate and the bottom here, Arthur's Hope. Arthur's Hope was able to control it here because there wasn't really that much speed. This was a track that was also very kind to inside speed. Not huge bias, but it was kind to it. My Boy Tate got left, broke slow, got sort of brushed and stuff, fell back to last, made a big wide run and had all the wrong trip, while Arthur's Hope had all the right trip.
Yep.
Now you've got the presence of Amundsen, and even Jorge Vargas can't rate Amundsen, right? I mean, he pretty much could rate Seattle Slew in a match race.
That would be neat. That would be a neat trick.
And Oscar Gomez, who's riding PJ Advantage, I mean, well, he's not speed, excuse me, a Binkster.
Yeah.
Dylan likes to rate speed horses too. So maybe, you know, maybe Arthur's Hope will get that right aggressive ride and get it done. But the thing you have to remember about Arthur's Hope, he's never won a race without the lead.
Yeah, and you feel like
how do these guys not go?
You know how you say that, like if you're looking at a horse that has 4 horses to beat in a race, 3 or 4 horses, you need a lot of horses not to show up. Man, Arthur's Hope would need a lot to go wrong for some of the others near early on to get a loose lead in here.
I totally agree with you.
And as well as he ran last time,
I'm not going to be shocked if he wins, and I'm not going to leave him out because he can win. He's good enough to win, but getting the lead's not going to be easy. And we'll look at My Boy Tate's win the slop off the layoff where he beat Arthur's Hope, who couldn't make the lead, and Binkster. Some bet what David has it with Binkster, the connections.
Yeah,
Manor
that's
Farm.
fantastic.
He's going to. If the horse hits the board, David has to wear their silks on Talking Horse with you next Sunday. If not, they're going to give $1,000 to Horse Rescue. So, got to root for
better David than
him
me.
not to hit the boards. They have to give money to Horse Rescue. They put themselves in a weird predicament.
Well, you know what?
I had to root against the horse, but I can't root against them, and I never root against Ray. Unlike you.
I'm hoping for a dead heat for 4th, and they both lose. I think a dead heat plays that they got to pay the money.
Third, 1, 2, 3.
Third?
1, 2, 3. I believe the bet's 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Dead heat for 3rd. They both have to.
I'm going to take My Boy
pony
Tate, who I think will get better circumstances, and I believe he was very much against the racetrack and the flow of the race last time, and thought he'd be dangerous. And here, you've got Saratalto.
Oh, my boy, by appointment only.
I have
Saratalto.
a replay just for you of Saratalto.
It's a good replay.
Okay.
You usually bury me with
Tell
replays.
us why you like Saratalto before I blow you out of the water.
With all of this proposed speed in this race, I think my boy's got to get a right trip today. He loves the big A. He likes the distance.
Do you remember what you said about this horse last time?
I don't remember.
It's pretty bad when I have to remind you of your own handicapping, which does lead to believe that, as I know, that you're just making up things as you go along sometimes.
Okay.
You made a speech, and this was one of the few times when I actually thought you made sense, that this horse runs best
time between races.
when he has 2 months between races.
Yep.
So he comes back 5 weeks later, and you like him.
Yeah, well, you know, he's run okay in certain instances with this.
You get a close-up of him trying to talk his way out of this one?
No.
I did a close-up
I'm
of the
not
big
gonna
A,
try
trying
and
to talk
talk my
himself
way out
out
of
of a
it.
horse that
Here
he
is what
wouldn't have
I-
liked for this
here
reason
is
last
what
time,
I'm gonna
but now
say.
he's going to try to defend it because
Here
he
is
had just
what-
forgotten.
Here is what. No, I remember why.
You didn't remember anything. It never came up. You're so full of it.
I was trying
You're
to.
so
I was
full of
trying.
it.
I was going with the avoidance angle here. Look,
You're the worst.
I came back with him because I think he's going to get the right trip. I think this is going to be a tougher go because he's obviously stepping up in class and he doesn't have the time. But
If you don't believe your own,
Dad
your own
Barn,
nonsense,
hold
then
on.
who's supposed
Dad
to believe
Barn, Kevin and Ryan do an amazing job
it? Yes,
here
we
for
know.
their
We've
dad.
discussed their amazing job.
And I
Too
just
much,
think that
as a
if
matter
they're
of fact, as
running
much
this
as I like
horse
both of them.
back, if they're running this horse back, he must be telling them he's ready to run. With these horses, Andy, when they do this,
I got you. We got to go to the 9th race.
I'm just
I hear
telling
you.
you.
You like him.
I'm
just
just
making fun
telling
of
you.
you because he's going against exactly what
He's
you said
going
about
against
him
why I
last
loved
time.
him last
I
time.
think I Love Lulu's good enough. He just doesn't seem to win anymore, and I actually thought he ran pretty well last
Little
time.
camera shy the last
He just
couple
doesn't
of
seem to
years.
get a gun, but Cecilia Mike did come back and
Yeah.
win. Race number 9. The 14, More Grateful. Why do you like More Grateful, despite the fact that he lost this race that we're going to take a look at here at 3 to 5?
I probably shouldn't have picked More Grateful today because this is another race where the problem is if I'm right, and the race 2 back is more indicative of his ability than the race last time when he was, I think, personally compromised by the rail draw. He had to get outside
Okay,
horses.
I'm going to actually discuss it now.
Okay.
He broke slowly in that race and was forced to rush up. And he rushed up into what turned out to be a wicked pace, which ultimately collapsed. The 4th place finisher, who had, he broke slowly and he had to rush up. This race fell apart in the late stages. He actually ran very well in here. It wasn't so much he was compromised by the rail draw. He was compromised by getting left and then rushing into a race where the pace collapsed. Notorious Flirt took advantage of the collapse in here, as did Scuttlebuzz, who ran 3rd in there. He actually ran very well in here. He wasn't right on top of the pace, but he had to rush to be close enough that I believe he was very much compromised by the dynamics of the race. His first race was very, very good. It was a good field. If he hadn't got left that day, breaks, he's supposed to be tough. I don't love that he has the 12 post. I won't disagree with that. We'll see if he can get the right ride. I have not been overly impressed by the rides his rider's given, but he is supposed to be tough to beat. But this is not an easy race, Anthony.
No, it's not.
Because Double Shot, the 7 we'll take a look at, that's a race that's turned out to be pretty good. I mean, Impetuous, who ran 3rd, was the New York bred I was thinking of for the Cassies, that got left and rushed up in that wet track in that race and ran 4th and then came back with a big win in the slop in his subsequent start. I think he's in on Thursday. I saw him. I think he's in a race coming up. I feel like I saw him. I think he's talented. What's his name was in there? The former Met. Cleon Jones was in this race, who turned out to be a solid
4th,
runner.
right?
Yeah, and this horse is okay. He is, and Manny Franco takes them out.
Yeah, Manny's going to climb aboard the late rider change with Louis out. He makes a lot of sense. I think you can make a case for Dangerous Edge, who's getting blinkers, who's kept some really good company in all of his starts, right?
Like him.
Tis
He
the
has
Law,
one good
Captain
race.
Bombastic, Silly Key, and Bourbon Bay.
I think Lorenzen is dangerous near. Lorenzen took money on that Munaki race, and I think that track was sealed. I'm almost sure the track was sealed for that Munaki race. I'm almost sure. I'm going to go back and watch that.
Lorenzen took money both
But
starts.
Lorenzen-
Last time turf,
But
first
he
time
really
dirt.
got bet first
Yeah, he
time
did.
out. He cost $200,000, and I would not dismiss that horse. The Cassie Barn's going well. I think that's a dangerous horse to leave out. And it's interesting, Jose Lozcano
Riding the
was
12.
on More Grateful,
Yeah.
and he's on the first. Do you catch the dam and the dam's name and her name? Do you know where that's all comes from?
I don't. I remember
You don't
Juju
know where
I
Juju
remember
Eyeballs
Juju-
and
I
Walrus
remember-
Gumboot come
No,
from?
I don't. I remember Juju Eyeballs.
You know everything.
I don't know.
Come Together, Beatles song on Abbey Road. He's got Walrus Gumboot, Juju Eyeballs.
Juju Eyeballs,
They're
but
both,
I
both
see.
are from Come Together.
Oh wow, okay. I don't think I don't think the Walrus Gumboot ever really registered.
Yeah,
Juju Eyeballs, obviously.
It's all come together. I think it's pretty cool, actually. But I think how can you really, I think you can't leave this horse out.
No.
Racing Service and Jose taking him. This is actually one of the best races of the day. Don't leave before the last. I thought this was a fascinating race.
Even the horse that drew in, I don't think the horse that drew in is completely impossible.
He's not, but
the post.
this
the post
is a much
not,
tougher field.
Yeah,
This
if
is
he's
a
the
completely
6
different
hole
world.
at 20 to 1, it's a different story than the 13 hole at 30 to 1.
He did run well last time.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Fresh
but this
gelding,
is a tough
first
spot.
lay, 6 to
He's
lay
not
off.
1,000 to 1. And
No.
the funny thing is, you look through the horses, the firsters. There's just no pedigree. That Pletcher horse or Calumet. I mean, I think you might have beat him in his 2-year-old sales work. I couldn't have, but I think you could because you're a little lithe on your feet. Anyway,
I get out of the gate. I'm sharp out of the gate.
head over to Naira Bets if you've enjoyed this show as much as we have.
I mean,
Watching
I don't
the highlight
know.
for
The
me
rest
was
of the
watching
day's downhill.
Anthony trying to talk himself out of a corner he painted himself in with Sarah Talto. 100% deposit bonus up to $200. Use the promo code Think Anthony Stabile. Big A 50-50 Oaklawn and Aqueduct. Bet them through the app, 50 on each track, and we'll be covering those races. There's 3 stakes down there. We'll be covering races 6 through 10 and races 8 through 9 on America's Day at the Races. That's on FS2 from 4 to 6:30.
Is that your announcer voice? What was that?
I don't know.
That was terrible.
I don't love that name. I don't love that name.
Hey, listen.
I know. Anyhow, let's just listen. I don't like anything. I'm the worst. That's going to be race 8 and 9 here. Lafitte and Gary Stevens are down in Oaklawn. Nancy Holthus will be helping us out as well. Of course, she works on simulcast feed down at Oaklawn. And Richie and Greg Wolf. Richie's like Madonna. He doesn't need a last name, right? Radio's the big. Anyhow.
Like Gary Gullo.
We done? See you Thursday? Just
Yeah.
like Gary Gullo.
I'll be here.
Exactly. Just like Gary Gullo. Johnny I up now when they reprise the scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct. Sunny skies on this President's Day with the temperature around 50 degrees. The main track is fast, and there's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of $41,300.